Good evening, America. I am the Big Red One Guy, reminding you that together we must break the machine. We've talked about Nevada. We've talked about Hawaii. Tonight, we're going to get into California politics. Tonight, we got a special guest, um, host of the American Veteran Made Right podcast, Eric Gonzalez. He had some time to come on, and we were able to get him on, which is a good thing. What you need to know about him is that not only he's a veteran of the 23 years, retired as a Navy chief. He right out of high school went right into serve this country, gave 23 hard years into the Navy, and now he's here spreading his knowledge, spreading his voice. He also ran for two offices in the state of California, once in 2020 for his school board, okay, and in 2022 he ran for his state assembly. I'm sorry. So without further ado, I'm gonna bring him in because it's better to let him talk about what he's done and what he's all about, and he can talk about his podcast. Just so everybody knows, I did put a link in the description of this video to his podcast so that you know where to find him. The link to his Instagram is there as well. So let's bring him in. Eric,
Hi,
thanks for
Eric.
joining us tonight, man.
Thank you for bringing me on. I appreciate, coming hanging in with the fellas and spreading the wonderful news of politics in California or lack thereof, good politics. So we have a little bit of myself. Again, like you just mentioned, served 23 years in the Navy, retired as a Navy chief. And then I didn't really want to get into the game of politics, but that was my calling because that's what I got my college degree in political science, and I did public policy as some graduate work. And after that, I started creating my podcast, as you mentioned earlier, the American Veteran Podcast. So in doing so, I'd always would tell people, if we want to make changes to our country and our state, we got to be part of the solution and part of the creation of what's right for our country. And so I said I took my own medicine that time when I mentioned that. And so in 2020, that's when I ran for the San Diego Unified School Board here locally in San Diego. And was I successful? No, but it opened the doors to a lot more opportunities for me to run in other offices and be an individual that has been sought out for political news and political thought. And then in doing so, in 2022, I also ran for the California Assembly District. Again, unsuccessful, but it's hard in the district that I ran, where the numbers are 2-1, where that's what the Democrats outnumber the Republicans 2-1. The changes, again, the shifting is happening. So right now, when I ran office, I said, well, you know what? Let me do my best and start at the local grassroots process. And so I was the chair of the local chapter for the Republican National Hispanic Assembly. And so with that, we grew from basically nothing to about 150 members strong that are going strong right now. Taking the flag of the Republican Hispanics through San Diego County and to the greater California area. And so it's been a great opportunity, great experience to understand how the game is done in politics in California. It is deep, dirty, and crappy. But that's a little bit about me. And again, thank you guys for bringing me on board, Eric, and I appreciate it. But together as a community, we can fight back and get back our country.
Yeah, we talk pretty heavy on this show about local politics and how important it is. Me and Red Day at length. It seems like it's every show now we're talking about, and we're going to continue to talk about that because it's just very, very important that you understand what is going on, um, you know, on the local level and whatnot. And I'm going to bring something up in a minute here, and it's really important. Sorry, it's really important to understand who's running in your area, what they're running on, okay, and making sure that you get it done so when you get to the voting booth you get it right. And we always like to bring people on who have run and can tell us the ins and outs, especially in their state. Like I said, we talked about Nevada. We had Ashley Oyama on earlier in the week on Monday, and she was talking about how things were in Hawaii, the politics there with both the Republicans and Democrats. So it was very, very informative. um, you know but I'm going to bring up this map here, and this is the margin that has changed and how the country has swung to the right, including in deep blue states like California and New York. I mean, look at how New York, it's gotten even redder. But
Yeah.
California, if the map in California on the eastern side of the state, there was a whole bunch of counties that flipped.
If you take a look at the map just for California, the Democrats lost 4.5% from overall population size as far as vote count from 2020 to 2024. And that was a big shift in California, where at one point, the only areas that were red were portions of the northeastern part of the state to the eastern part in the middle of central California, to where now it's all coastal now, that it's all Democrat majority. So the state is shifting, and it's nice to see that there are people that are willing to stay and fight, not just me, because there's a plenty of us that want to fight to bring California back to its original glory, back to make it the golden state like it always has been. But again, the shift is changing. President Trump again won this state, or he lost the state, but he increased his vote margin by 4.5%. So if you look at the electoral map of just the state, in 2020, he got roughly 6 million votes, and in this go around, he got 6,600,000 votes, and so that's a big jump from a 4-year turnaround. And so that's just a sign that put the Democrats on notice that the state is flipping red.
That's
Yeah.
good. Can I just point out something? Texas and Florida were already pretty red, and so is that map showing that they swung even more red?
I think Florida definitely. Look how deep Florida is for sure. How red, and I think
That's not
that's
showing how red they are. That's just showing how much more red
yes,
they got, right?
correct. If you look
So
at it's a margin change from 2020. It was Democrat plus 10. Now it's Republican plus 10, essentially. So there's no
crazy.
blue. There's no blue on the map anywhere. Okay, in the country, it's a fantastic shift. Again, Rula, I put up she said people are tired of the nonsense, which is absolutely correct. And it's a reflection of how people were feeling this election after the 4 years of just straight agony in your pocket, at the gas pump and whatnot. It was great. It's great to see. I'm thoroughly surprised, especially being from New York. Okay, seeing how New York has actually shifted, and look at New Jersey. All right, New Jersey too. Even the state,
Dude, those are
like Connecticut. Okay.
the four biggest states on the map. The four biggest populations, those are the ones that swung the most red.
Yes.
They may not have
Absolutely.
actually won it, but that's a big problem for them.
And you know
Yeah.
what the big difference is in the turnout, yes, but how many Democrat voters were flipped to become registered Republicans. So that was the biggest shift, not only in California but across the country. So thanks to the good ground game that the RNC had at the national level, where they were able to provide over 280,000 individuals across the country to promote and advocate and push that good ground game. And the proof is in the pudding during this 2024 election. That's why he won. That ground game was effective this time, and we fought like how the Democrats fight. And that's what I've been talking about for the longest time, even when I ran for office and even before that, because the Democrats play dirty. Now,
Yes.
when they play dirty, we kind of stay on our laurels because we know we don't want to we stay on our high horse as Republicans. But at the same time, we have to learn that in a battlefield, you got to be tactical and you got to be able to win. And sometimes you got to get your hands a little bit dirty. And that's what happened this in the 2024 election. Is our hands got dirty, and look at the results are there. We won, and states that were in counties. And if you think about it, more counties were won this go around than the last election.
Yeah. This from Robert. He said he had a friend that flat out told him local elections are stupid. Well, your homie doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about, because it's where local elections are way more important than the national on the national level. Not that national elections aren't important, but if we don't fix shit, and we've been saying this for about 4 or 5 shows now, if we don't fix shit locally, okay, we will never get to where we need to be. And it goes back to what you just finished saying, Eric. Regardless of the fact that some of the people we know may have lost their races and stuff like that, this map tells you exactly what the feeling in the country is, and it's up to us, okay, and to get out there and support people who want to run on the local level to keep this going, because we have an opportunity. A lot of people don't know, that in the midterm elections, it usually always flips to the other side. But we have a shot as a Republican Party, okay, with the ground game that's going on with, what's his name, Michael Watley, is it, and Lara Trump, with what they've put together, okay, to do something that hasn't been done in a very long time, and that is increase our lead during the midterm election. And increase the amount of seats that we have during the midterm election. This is the first time that we can actually look at it, but it needs, the grind needs to continue to go, because if the grind stops, then we're just fucked. If we go back to the same shit.
The biggest margin of increase this go around was in the demographic from 18 to 24. So if you look at that age demographic, 18 to 24 typically tend to vote for blue or no, or don't vote at all, period. But if you look at the results this election cycle, the 18 20 to 24 year olds, regardless of whether male or female, they came out and voted because they saw what their parents, what their families, what they were paying at the pump, what they're paying at the grocery stores, and they're realizing, heck, I don't want to be paying that when I get there, that age, or I'm established. They're the ones that are thinking about, I want to buy my first home, I want to buy my first car, but yet I can't do that with inflation so high. And so that's what you have to look at, is that the 18 to 24 demographic. I give them a little bit of credit because they came out and showed out this election.
Yeah, it was very important that we had a lot of younger Americans come out and vote. It just, demographic just shifted altogether, right? Like, Latinos reached into their, that we're all Latino on this panel. Okay, Latinos reached into their, into their conservatism. They reached into their roots and were like, yeah, we're kind of done with this bullshit, because we're naturally conservative with the way we think on things and the way we do things in our lives and stuff like that. So, it was good to see that shift. Just them come back to their roots. Go ahead.
I hope it wasn't just because it was a woman running though, because I know that the across the different demographics, like the different ages, I know that men came out a lot more for Trump than women did, and I'm not saying that he didn't get gains. He did improve his standing with women than he did in like 2016 and 2020, but
Mhm.
I mean, it could have been. I mean, it could have just been that she was just a horrible candidate, which I would say that she was. Um,
Yeah.
you know, I could think of plenty of women that I would be happy to vote for president.
Yeah,
But
I think we're
I
at
hope,
that point.
yeah, I hope it just wasn't. Oh well, like when they would like I'm not saying that like they're blaming like Hispanic men. They're saying, oh, they didn't, and black men too. They're saying, oh, they didn't want to vote
Yeah,
for a woman.
that was the pigeons of the coop. They were blaming
That's the
Hispanic and black men. It was all our fault.
But this,
I'm hoping it's not that. I'm hoping it's not. That's just that she
I
sucked.
don't think it is. I think not only does she suck, I just think that the overall feeling in the country is just, listen, man, a lot of men, okay, are trying to fucking take care of their families and whatnot. Their pockets are hurting too. Their wives are freaking, trying to hold the house together while their men are out there, grinding and stuff like that. And in many cases, their wives are working too. Okay, the family dynamic is completely destroyed because both sides have to freaking work, okay, at the same time because of this economy and everything. It's just, I think it's just, she was just a terrible candidate, man. I think plenty of men would,
She
I
was.
I know
not only
some women
that,
I would vote for.
not only that, Eric, it's the combination of, she was a bad candidate. However, she was presenting bad and failed policy from the get go, from
Yeah.
the very beginning of her candidacy.
She
It was
was
just
bad. Yeah.
a repetition of the same policies that have failed our country, not only just in the last 4 years, but have failed our country in the past. And so she kept on regurgitating that. And when you have bad policy in the United States, it leads to people rethinking their positions on who they want to vote for. And fortunately, our side has the better policy ideas that would make our country more profitable, more prosperous, and more willing to be able to do the work that it is to create a country nation of where we are the strongest economy in the world. We talk about economies a lot. However, do you think the United States has the largest economy in the world? We don't. It's actually China. Has the largest economy in the world, but we have to be the one to be able to overcome that because we're the center of all trades, regardless of where the world markets are at. Because everybody comes to the New York Stock Exchange. That is the world center for economic reasoning.
Well, speaking of stock exchange, I don't know if you've seen what's about to happen in 2025 with the 24/7 markets.
Mhm.
What do you call it? Is about to open up, right? And
Yeah.
they're going to start with it starting, I think, at like 4 p.m., 4 a.m. in the morning, and then by the end of next year, it's going to be like 24/7 and stuff like that. So,
And
that's
that'll be good.
One
Good.
difference, though, one difference between us and China. China may have the bigger economy, but we have the better one.
Correct.
Like with
Absolutely.
oh,
China's only
absolutely, absolutely
China's only profitable because we consume from them.
Correct.
correct.
Absolutely.
If we cut them off, or excuse me, they would just they would just drop.
Yeah,
The whole
not
country
only
would be
that,
in
they don't.
poverty. We don't
Yeah,
need
they don't.
China
No,
because
we
they don't
don't.
let
They
us
don't.
export to them anyway.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they don't float their currency the way the rest of the world does.
No.
Well, the way most modern countries do, okay, because a lot of countries don't float their currencies correctly. Anyway, if they have a huge inflation bubble that's just hanging over them right now, and when that bursts, it's just going to absolutely crash their economy there.
But
They,
what we
they have like they have whole sections of buildings and shit that they have built of like housing and stuff like that that aren't even filled and stuff like that. They can't nobody can buy them because nobody can afford them.
Yeah,
However, we
so
have to
it's
be careful,
ridiculous.
though, especially with our national debt. China is the biggest holder of our national debt.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
if we decide, if they want to say, if they want to call our mark, unfortunately, our country would fall because we'd be going into a default. But because we have mechanisms in place, we would actually be able to stave off that default and actually make us still remain stronger than China. But we have to be careful when we talk about economics about from other parts of the world, is because we're beholden with every other country that has our debt and loans.
Yeah. Well, this is something that Christie brings up right here. She says they're buying up all the
Yeah,
farmlands. Look how many U.S. meatpacking plants they've purchased here.
yep.
Yeah, that's another thing. That shit has to stop. Okay. Just to put a little icing on that cake, Christy, we actually import we actually import meat from China. Don't ask me why we do that, but we actually do. And when I found that out, I was like, what?
Oh, dude, it's worse. It's worse than that. We we grow meat here, or we harvest meat here. Then we send it to China, pack it, and then they send it back.
Yep.
Right, right.
Make
Yep.
sense of that.
Yeah. It's just what's going on. We have to
It's a complete
we got
shit
to
show.
decouple ourselves from China. It is an absolute
It's
travesty.
a knockoff meat, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. It's
Yeah,
well,
rat
China
meat.
has issues with development buildings.
Right.
Evergreen. Yeah, they just they're I know they're doing this shit with bricks and all that other stuff and everything. And I know you've seen Trump's warning to bricks, right? It's like go ahead and fuck around and use the Chinese yuan because they really want to use the Chinese yuan for purchasing power. It's not even to come up with a new currency. They want to use China's yuan because it's so devalued and stuff like
Right.
that. That's what they really want to use. And he's already put out the APB on on bricks. He's like, yeah, we're not gonna have that shit, and I believe him when he comes in. He's not gonna fuck around with them, like the Biden administration has done, and just has let this thing to develop.
Well, if you look at look at anything for as far as trade, tariffs, and all that stuff, what just happened a couple of days ago with Mexico and their president? Remember, she was spouting off, "Well, we'll never
Yeah,
see the United States." When even with Donald Trump in office, it only took him
Yep.
a 15-minute phone call to say, "Oh, okay, so you don't want to play the game? Guess what? We're going to charge you 200% on everything coming into this country." And what happened?
Mm-hmm.
What happened an hour later? We will.
yep. She
Yeah.
she got on the
It
phone
wasn't.
with
I
him, and
don't
what?
even think it went 24 hours.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it didn't go 24 hours. And what about Fidel Castro's son, fucking Trudeau, hanging out at Mar-a-Lago? He went running to fucking daddy really quick.
see,
He was there.
Did you
He
hear
was
what
gonna
he
slob nothing. Yeah,
did you
I
hear
heard
what
it.
he apparently Trump said to him today?
Yes,
I
about
didn't
Canada,
catch that anywhere, but my dad told me.
about Canada becoming the 51st state.
yes.
Yeah, because he said if you put the 200% tariff on Canada, we'll go bankrupt. And he's like, that's okay. You guys can just
Yeah.
become the 51st state, and you can be one of my
Uh,
governors.
I know that's hilarious, man. Scoob, what's going on? Let's say hi. Let's say what's up to the chat because we haven't really we just been going and stuff like that. Scoob, it's always good to see you, bro. Your comedy is just your comments are always the best. Christy Maggot, thank you again for showing up. We love you. I mean, I love all you guys, man. Robert Lucero's in the house once again. And then we got Rula. This is the first time I've seen her in the chat, and we talk on Instagram and whatnot. She's awesome too. Her videos on Instagram are absolutely fucking hilarious. I love them. Yeah, she is. She's a pistol, all right. She cracks me the fuck up.
Eric, I want to get back to what Christy had mentioned earlier about China buying farmland and land in general. Well, in San Diego County alone, they have bought up a lot of private land in the mountains. But what do you think they're using those private lands for? So just what nobody realizes is that China is building infrastructure within our borders. What do I mean by infrastructure? They're building private airports so they can come in and bring in their individuals to basically infiltrate our country from within. So that's what we found. I found a few months ago.
See, I didn't even know that shit. I knew about the farmlands and stuff. I didn't know that they were building fucking tarmacs and stuff like that, private fucking tarmacs. When I didn't know that, you just taught me something.
Yeah. So that's what we have to be careful is yeah, we can watch on the surface of what China's doing, but we're not watching what they're doing in the background. And so we have to be careful with what they're doing because they will come in and infiltrate their country like nobody's business. They're already doing that through the southern border.
The last 4 years, we didn't. The whole Biden administration didn't even give a crap about what they were doing right in our faces.
Exactly.
And they were like floating like weather balloons. They were just like, "Oh yeah, there's a balloon. How about that?"
Right.
Nothing.
Right.
They didn't do a damn thing.
So Eric, I know you wanted me to talk about a little bit about California politics, what's going on in the state of California.
Yeah.
But we had a rough election this year as far as where propositions were concerned. There were about 12 propositions at the state level, and a lot of them were to get more tax dollars from consumers and the resident citizens of California. So thankfully, only the two that were really in support of that were basically going to move the state in a better direction, which was Prop 34 and Prop 36. Those ones actually were good. And so the rest of them are basically garbage, even though some of them still went through. So California, but everything says California is not the highest rated tax state. We are just the highest taxed state from everything that we consume to everything that we do. Anything we buy, it's once taxed or another. So so we have this thing called the gas tax that occurs every July 1st of every year.
Yep.
And so it increases our gas by 53 cents on the dollar.
Goodness gracious.
So for you guys are paying across the country are paying $2.50 for a gallon of gas. We're paying anywhere from $4.50 to $5.50 a dollar a gas, or $5.50 a gallon of gas. So you have to be, and that's what they want the rest of the country to be like, and we can't sustain that.
No.
Yeah. Here, Rula brought this up. It says they're getting lithium mines too that they're doing.
Yep.
And you're right. And Christy brought this up too. Yeah, the farmlands, a lot of the farmlands, you're absolutely correct. They're buying them in the vicinity of our military bases so they can. But listen, China's been spying in our country for a long time. Not just militarily. Okay? Yeah, but it's not just military for military intelligence type stuff either, right? They're the biggest corporate espionage fucking conglomerate, comes straight out of China. If you look at everything that they do, right? If you look at all their shit, it's just all copies of everybody else's shit. All their military stuff, all their just their regular shit. It's all copies of everybody else's stuff. They're fantastic at it. They've been doing that shit not only around the world, but they've been doing it here forever. They send their kids to our colleges, and our colleges take money from them and whatnot and everything. And we just fucking let them do whatever they want and everything. Rogue Nina's in the house. Hi, Rogue. And I think I saw. Hang on. Where you at? Yep, Vera Marie. It's nice to see you too. Say what's up to you as well. So yeah, China's a problem, man. And I'm hoping Trump could get a hold of it, and we can do something because we really, really, really have to. We got to rein that shit in with China.
You can't do any worse than what Biden did.
Oh, I think he's do a lot better than that. But they brought up the thing about lithium mines. That lithium mining is so much dramatic effect on our landscape compared, and also
absolutely
solar panel infrastructure. I mean, this it's obnoxious to see what this state has become. Because about 6 months ago, they actually were cutting down trees in the Joshua Tree to
In
put.
Joshua, out by fucking 29 stumps out there in Joshua Tree.
So they're putting farmlands of solar panels out there.
Get the fuck out of here, man.
So talk about
Ridiculous.
climate change, climate reality. However, they're just the ones destroying the country,
Least
the world.
efficient energy.
Wow.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
least
Wow.
efficient energy is solar.
yeah.
Yeah, and those wind fucking
Oh,
those wind the
the wind turbines.
Turbines.
yeah, the wind
Do they
turbines, the
have wind
pinwheels.
farms out in California?
We are littered with wind turbines all up and down the state, in the ocean. And the bad part about those is that when they die, You can't bury them. You can't
Nope.
recycle. You can't do anything. You got to just leave them there. So
Yeah.
when they go to dismantle them, all they're doing is just leaving them where they were standing to rot, because they don't decompose or anything like that. You can't
Yeah,
reuse
how
them.
is that not pollution?
Exactly.
Yeah. Well,
You know,
they kill more birds and everything like that on land, and then they're killing whales and shit off the coast. I know they were having a huge problem with them off the coast in New Jersey. They were just killing the
Oh, yeah.
whale population and everything like that. It's a disaster. I'm assuming it's probably the same thing out in California as well. So,
it's the vibration that they cause in the ocean water.
yeah.
As the wind turbines go, it causes a mean vibration in the depths of the ocean, and that's what brings in all the whales and
Yeah.
basically sea life.
Confuses their sonar.
Yeah.
You know what, Eric? What's this? That's what got the lowriders banned. Yeah, what is it with the classic car thing that's going on in California, man?
Well, here in San Diego, we have what's called the Chicano Park, and in that area, there was nothing but Chicanos that had low riders and stuff like that. And all they would do is go take their cars and show off with their vehicles.
Like
But
what they do every Sunday.
exactly. But however, the wonderful people we had in elected office thought it was a nuisance, because what is it required to have a low rider? Hydraulics. And
Yeah.
what is hydraulics? Hydraulics are an old mechanism way of making things operate and function, and it's also
Yep.
oil. So
Yeah.
in California, they don't like oil. So
Yeah, no.
anything made out of oil, you're not going to have in California.
Wow.
So this year in San Diego, they fought and fought and fought to where now they're able to cruise just one drag street and cruise in lower riders and have fun.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's something else, man.
Crazy.
That's fucking crazy, man. California. All right, so going back to like the politics and stuff like that. You ran in 2020 for the school board, right?
In 2020, I ran for San Diego Unified School Board because it was time for a change in how the ideology was and it still is, that has infected education, not only in San Diego but across the country. So what you have to think about is I ran against the DEI machine, and the moment that I ran against the DEI machine, I was the extreme far right, whatever you want to call it, because I in my constant like I was the constant myth that I couldn't succeed without anybody's handout or help. And so I would always come back with an argument. So, well, you're telling me as a Hispanic male, biological male, I cannot succeed in this country. When I would tell them, look, I did 23 years in the military. I have a college degree. I own my own house. I don't, I hope I don't offend anybody, but I don't live off of food stamps.
No, you're not gonna offend anybody in this crew. You're not gonna offend anybody in this chat, bro.
Yeah, and so and of course, like I said, I ran against.
We all on that same page, as we're not trying to live off of food stamps either.
I like I said, I ran against the DEI machine, and it just I constantly go through it to this day, because I have kids in school too, and so that's the reason why I ran, because I wanted to make sure my kids had a fair shake in school, and I saw how the money was being spent, because I was a parent volunteer at in one of the committees that determined how much money would be on a budget line item for the school district. And so I saw how much money was being wasted and spent on useless projects and not necessarily going back to where it should be, back to the schools. And so that's why I ran, to make sure that was to change that. And then, of course, in 2022, I felt that it was time for me to run for a state position, because that's where I felt that I had the biggest impact I could have. And so basically my platform was no more taxes and start repealing some of the taxes that were in California already, because we pay way too much tax for everything. And then of course mine was zero pro life, and zero infringement on the Second Amendment, and of course limited government. Because just like at the national level, California's government is so overbloated that it's obnoxious to know how many agencies they have that makes this state work, and people aren't actually making the state work. They're making it
Where,
work.
where's the debt at right now in
Absolutely.
California? Because every time like
Oh,
Newsom comes out, he comes out of his face and he's talking about, yeah, we'll pay for this, and then you get an article that comes out like, yeah, we don't have the money to pay for this.
well, see, the problem with the debt is because they have this thing called the bullet train to nowhere. I'm sure some of you have heard that before.
Wait, hold on. This look at Scoop. Scoop's like, if I had the money, I put hydraulics on a sit down mower.
Yep. Yep. I can see that too.
He probably did.
Oh
You
man.
know, but like as we digress to some good conversation, that's nice. But there's this thing called the bullet train that is supposed to connect Northern California, particularly Sacramento, to LA. Well, the initial bid was $1 billion, and so that was almost 10 years ago.
Yes, I know that. I know that. What's the story behind that? They haven't built any of that at all, have they?
They
They've
built
only
like a mile or two.
they've only built a mile, and it's so riddled with weeds, trash, graffiti, but yet it's still now in over $100 billion in cost overruns. Because why? Because it's being ran by a Spanish company, not an American company. So that's why it's a lot of cost overruns, because
From
it's not
Spain, a
it's from
Spanish
Spain.
company from Spain.
Correct. So
To tell you the truth, I don't know if an American company, the way our companies have been recently, would do any better right now.
true,
No,
true, but at least we would know where the money is going to, and and going back to your initial statement about the debt. Every year we had this budget conversation, and the
Hmm.
budget usually teeters about 27 to 28 billion dollars for the year. Now, depending on which book you look at, it's always we're in the debt. We'll always be in the debt until we get Newsom out of office, because he has put more money in his pocket and his friends' pockets than actually back to the citizens of California. And so that's why every year you say, "Oh, we have a surplus of 54 billion," and then 3 days later, "Oh, we had an accounting error when we were rewriting our budget, so now we have a $24 billion deficit."
Wow. It's amazing what's going on. Obviously, it's going on all over the country.
Yeah,
But when you look at like blue states and how like just the money's just blown, like if you guys were paying attention, the New York City is just about to give the Roosevelt Hotel, which is actually owned by actually owned by Pakistan, okay, a Pakistani company that's actually state funded by the government of Pakistan. So it's a state company. It's not really, it's the government essentially of Pakistan, and for fucking years now, we've been paying the Pakistani government to house illegal immigrants. How fucking disgusting is that? You know, we got homeless veterans. We got fucking just regular homeless citizens, not even just veterans. Okay, on the streets in the fucking cold. We got people in North Carolina that are living in tents with the winter coming. Okay, and CPS coming to take their fucking kids away from them. All right. In the winter, right before the holidays and shit like that in North Carolina right now. Okay. In Western North Carolina, we got this shit. And the city of New York is giving away fucking. And now, to top it off, this scumbag fucking who just pardoned his shithead son. Okay,
yeah.
just giving another $700 million to fucking our biggest welfare recipient, Vladimir Zelensky, over in fucking Ukraine. It's just amazing that we just keep blowing this money like it's nothing.
Well, and I want to touch up on some one of the in the chat about the recall in California for
Hmm.
Newsom. Well,
I remember that.
there was two opportunities that we could have recalled him, and at the time that we had the recall petitions, there was over 5.5 million people that actually petitioned that, and it was a
Right,
multi-party recall.
right.
So when it came time to do the actual voting, we couldn't even touch at least three to be able to have the recall successful, and that was because everybody were told you need to vote on the party line. Do not vote for the recall, and that's why the recalls have been unsuccessful, especially for Newsom, is because everybody would revert back to the party line vote.
But didn't they also fucking they what do you call it, ballot dumped as well with that shit too to
They
increase
did.
his lead and to because he was like it looked like he was gonna get recalled and then there was like the midnight ballot dumps like they've been doing since
Yeah, it was
forever.
the second recall process, and that's what that happened, and then that was very noticeable, and so it's ridiculous that how people are willing to vote for put their name on a petition and vote for it in the primary, and then when it came down to the general election, they didn't want to vote, and I'm like, well, you're here voting and crying, saying that you want to recall him, but yet you didn't put your money where your mouth was at.
That second
Hang
recall
on.
that they did wasn't that the one where they
Robert, what are you talking about? What that's not how what works. Whatever it is, explain it, man.
no, I was gonna say the second recall wasn't that the one where they had like 0.1% of the vote counted and they said, "Oh, Newsom won."
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
I remember seeing that and I was like, "What the heck?
yeah, yeah, and
How can you
Robert's
even
right.
get away with that?"
Yeah, and Robert's right. There is a lot of process that goes before that regarding the signatures. You have to. They're called petition signatures, so that the petition signatures were actually the 5.5 signatures as well, and including into the primary vote. But when it came down to the general election, those
Rula, good night. Oh, hang on, sorry. Good night, Rula. We'll see you. Hope to see you again soon. There won't be a show this Friday, but we got you coming up soon, so we'll talk. We'll talk. Go ahead. Sorry, Eric.
no, that's good. It's just that it's disheartening to see how that recall process failed both times because people didn't vote when they were supposed to vote the way they're supposed to vote. According to when they did the petition.
And this is from Rogue Nina. She says, I heard that the exit polls were high 90s for recalling him. Saw the numbers live on TV change. Went from Larry Elder to
Yep.
Newsom. Thousands of votes, just like Trump in 2020.
Yep.
She says she has that up on her IG.
Yep. Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
Here,
Yeah.
Robert says we don't have enough Republicans to outweigh the 51% to remove him. Robert, I saw a number, and you guys from Cali can correct me because like I only see shit in the, I see numbers because I'm looking at data and stuff like that. So if this is correct, I saw that this election, okay, especially with the early voting, Republicans were just fucking sitting out. And had they just stepped up and actually did the early voting, they would have changed it. It might have changed some things in the state of California. If I'm wrong, that's fine. I don't mind being wrong. But that was data that I saw with early voting with this last election in the state of California. And I was also talking to Anthony Cabasas, who was out there stumping for people, and he was posting that shit regularly about just get up and vote, get up and vote, get up and vote. We're missing Republican votes, and we got like a million, let's say a million fucking Republicans registered to vote, but none of you guys are getting up to vote and shit like that. We've only had like 200,000 and stuff like that of these registered voters. So if I'm incorrect, then I'm incorrect. But those are just numbers that I saw that the Republicans were just not getting up and voting this last election.
Well, no, that it's actually the vote count was actually pretty good this election cycle. In 2020 was when it was worse. And Robert's right. There is about 40 million in our state, and so, but
Okay, I see what you're saying. Sorry, I'm sorry, Eric. Hang on. I see what you're saying, Robert. Okay, I got you. So, so he just schooled me a little bit on. He said 40 million in the state. It took
correct.
only 4 million of recall signatures to launch the recall, but then 51% of Democrats voted to keep him in. Okay, all
Correct.
right, I got you. I got you.
Because not enough Republicans went out to vote, and that was the problem and issue is that there are not enough Republican and independent votes to. There was actually enough Republican and independent voters in the state to actually that could have caused a recall, but they didn't. They didn't want to. The independents sat out as well as some Republicans that sat out, and just like what Robert was saying, San Diego is no longer a red state. Red city. It's actually a purple city now. But
Yeah.
if you look at this 2024 election, the county as a whole, the only deep blue part is actually within the city of San Diego. Around the surrounding areas are red, and that's because it's more people that actually have the values of the rest of the country that they value, God, country, etc. But the city of San Diego, the 1.3 million residents of city of San Diego, more than half of that are Democrats.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a big change, man. Because I remember again, we talked earlier today we were talking. I remember in the 1990s, man, San Diego was fucking stayed red. Going into the 2000s, it was always a red city. And they always had red mayors and whatnot. Their city council. When did that shift happen in San Diego?
The shift happened about 10 years ago, probably maybe closer to 15. Because remember, as we were talking earlier, the Democrats, they play the marathon game, and whereas the Republican Party, we play the sprint game. We want to win elections now, not the long down the way. And so as it just that about 15 years ago, I saw the writing on the wall when I saw that our city was starting to turn blue, and I started ringing up alarm bells. I said, "Look, we have to start putting a stop to it. If not, we're going to be falling to what we are seeing now." So about 15 years ago, that's where I saw the big shift.
But what was the shift though? Was it just the people that turning? Was it had to do with immigration or what?
A little bit of everything. People coming in to the state, people not necessarily leaving, people the illegal migrants coming in, because as you know, in California we don't have the voter ID, so anybody can vote. So if you don't know, in California, and I put this to a test, you could actually vote 4 times and have a legal ballot.
No shit.
Yeah.
You said you put it to a test?
I put it to a test and it worked.
No fucking shit. You voted 4 times.
Yeah.
Okay. And they all counted.
And the reason why I put it to a test is because I used to work at the voter registration office here in San Diego County.
Wow.
And so because we don't have to require the voter ID, the first way you're going to vote is your mail-in ballot.
This is a true statement right here.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
With all the people that left California, like California's been dropping in population.
Mm-hmm.
Where have they been leaving from? Have they been leaving from the red areas or leaving from all over?
They've been leaving primarily from the more populous, more dense cities like San Diego, LA, Sacramento.
That's probably what helped turn it purple then, is the fact that a lot of Republicans probably just threw their hands up and say, "I got to get out of here."
Well, just in the last year, we have roughly, if you lose 2 seats in the U.S. House of Representatives, that's a big jump because that's 750,000 people.
Oh, wow.
Huge.
That's true. That's a huge.
I think so. They're looking at this by the end of next year, losing another 250,000 people.
When do they actually lose those seats? Because it seems like they've been talking about them losing seats for like a few years now.
The census. It's every time the census comes up. Okay, when the census comes up.
So when does it actually lose the seat?
We had one. When was the last one? 2017, I think. I might be wrong. Jonathan, can you find out when the last census was, bro? I'm pretty sure I got that 2017 incorrect. I know it was during Trump was the last census, and he wanted to. When was it?
2020, because I worked it.
Okay, there you go. There you have it.
But how long after the census do the reps like realign?
Right after their final.
That's almost immediately.
Yeah, it was immediate. So we lost 1 seat after that.
So they've already lost their seats.
Yep.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Okay.
Yeah.
It's immediate. I know that it's immediate. The states either gain or lose seats. It's immediate.
It seems like they're always talking about them that they're going to lose it. I didn't realize they lost them already.
I couldn't remember what year. I'm glad you reminded me because I'm terrible with years. And Jonathan said he just concurred with you. He says April 1st, 2020 was the last.
April
and if you
Fool's Day?
Yeah. If you don't remember that Trump was trying to get the citizen question on the census. All right, so that way we can exclude illegal immigrants, right? And then both Republicans and Democrats on both fucking sides, fought against him with that. All right, if we had that, California, New York, a whole bunch of places would have lost fucking seats.
So that you mentioned that, because when I would go to door to door for the census, I actually had to, I couldn't ask them, "Are you an American citizen? Are you a resident?" The only thing I could ask them is, "When did you come to the United States?" And that's it.
That's horrible.
I couldn't ask them, have you become a citizen of the United States? I just asked them, when did you become a resident of the state of Utah? So, it's California is a whole different animal when it comes to politics and the machine. Just like I mentioned earlier, if you want to see dirty politics on the grand scale, come to California, because I'm still living their nightmare because I get phone calls all the time. I'm shadow banned on all social media platforms. I'm permanently banned on Facebook. So you have to when you play the game and play it the right way, they come at you like nobody's business. And I have people following me too. So that was the biggest thing I
This
know.
is a shout out for you from Robert. Now Robert ran too, by the way. He says Eric is doing a good job fighting for his city when everyone else just bails out. Yeah,
Hey, I
that's
know Emmy.
you know Noemi?
Yeah,
Yeah, Noemi, we know that we love Noemi, man.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. So yeah, so they play a very dirty game. And like I said, they had me followed and tailed from when I would go from work to my house. So they still do it now because it's obvious what they're doing.
yeah, listen again. I'll go back to Anthony Cabasas. I got to get him. I got to get him on the show. I know he was grinding for a whole bunch of candidates and locally in California and whatnot. And he's like he's like you. He's like, I'm not leaving California. I'm going to continue to fight for it because California is a very beautiful state, man. And it's sad to see, the state that it is in with the super majority that Democrats have. Now we know the bullshit with the Democrats, all right, but like, what was the bullshit you went through with Republicans, the Republican Party in California?
Well, for me, it was the biggest thing of for me and my campaign. All I want in 2022, I said, all I need is somebody to help me be my campaign manager, and that's it. I didn't need any funding because I was a self-funded campaign, and so
Love you, Nana. Have a good night, Noemi.
yep, see you later. And so I told him I don't need money. I just need somebody to help me run my campaign. That's all I needed was a person, a body. They told me no, and I said
Wow.
okay. So after that, I did my best to be able to be a badass motherfucker for them, not for them, but for the city of San Diego and for the state of California, and let people know how I really felt about the party. And so it changed. And so this year, there's a new president at the local RNC,
Yeah.
the Republican Party, and so it's rough, man. And when you play dirty into that swamp, it gets real dirty.
It's a shame, man.
Yeah.
Listen, we know that it's bullshit on both sides, whether you have an R or a D.
Yep.
There's just scumminess on both sides. I went through it too,
I control
dealing
you.
with it is. It's just it's a quid pro quo game with them and stuff like that. That's why I'm happy with what has gone on a national level, with Watley and Lara Trump, and with Scott Pressler. What he did in Pennsylvania was just absolutely insane. He single handedly just fucking wrecked shop in Pennsylvania. It was awesome to see.
The one thing on my when I ran for office in 2020 that they didn't like was I was a pro life candidate.
Hmm.
They didn't want any pro life candidates at that time.
It's like that in states like California, also in New York. It's like that in New York. Republicans they're a little bit more on the progressive side than you got to go upstate. You got to go like out into the rural areas to find more conservative. Uh, what do you call it? Candidates. I mean, I happen to have in my area. I had a really conservative person locally that I voted for, and he won and stuff like that. But he was on his second election. He won the last time. He won in 20. What was it 2022? I think he won, and then it's every 2 years for his seat. So it was good to see that he won again and everything. He's more conservative, but he doesn't, for whatever reason, doesn't run on the conservative ticket. He runs on the Republican ticket, but he's just a very conservative dude. So it was
And
just good to see.
that's where that's the line that you have to really understand is that if you run as a conservative candidate, you're not going to get the full support of the Republican Party back then. Now you will because that's the real alignment of the party.
So is that
Had
happening
Lara
in
Trump taken over when you ran?
What's that?
Had Lara Trump like gotten to her position when you ran, or was that afterwards?
No, Ronald McDaniel was the one that was still running the RNC, so it was after I took
uh
after it happened. So it would have been
Yeah,
nice to
she was
have
no
yeah,
good.
yeah,
Ronald McDonald was terrible. He's a
yeah,
She was
fucking
awful.
clown.
yep.
uh
Awful.
We're talking about three elections, well, actually probably, I think, yeah, three election cycles in a row where it was just Vivek freaking eviscerated her on the on the stage and called her out and shit, and he broke it down completely how she was just terrible for three elections. It was absolutely epic, and that was like the beginning of the end for her, which was awesome. I'm glad she went away. She was just devastated the National Party and whatnot. They didn't help anybody, man.
And then to Robert's comment too, I'm with you, Robert. I won't join the Republican Party until they have a nice shift, because right now the Republican Party is struggling not only in San Diego but also across the state. And so, but just like you, the Tea Party is pushing heavy right now. Right now, there's also this other group called the New California who wants to make California 3 different parts.
Yeah,
that
the
are-
secession thing, they want to break it down into like,
yeah.
they want Upper California, Central, and Lower California, or whatever, right? Yeah, that's been a thing for a long time, though. That goes back to the 1990s, bro. Well,
Yeah.
at
Should
least
just
when I heard
let
about it,
it
it was back
happen,
in the
man.
1990s. I'm pretty sure it goes back further than that. Yeah,
That would be
Scott's like,
awesome.
just let it happen, man. Just let it happen.
Seriously, I don't understand why. I mean, I understand the state. I understand why the people in charge don't want it to happen, because they're going to lose all the votes and the revenue and the power. But man, can you imagine just like, because it's not just Northern California, like Eastern Oregon, Eastern Washington want to join Idaho,
Yeah.
Yeah,
create a mega state there. You know that like Southern Illinois wants to join Indiana.
yeah,
Um, just let them. Just let them.
yeah. No,
Let's do a whole realignment.
I agree.
Boom.
Well,
Go
that's what
create
Yeah,
some mega states out of it.
that's
Florida,
what
Georgia,
supposed to.
Georgia, or something like that. It'd be awesome.
Yeah.
yeah. I'd love to see that, man. I'd love to see some realignment. We need it, and we definitely need it in this country. But you know, it's just, how do you feel going forward, like, after this last election with the red shift in California, even though obviously, we didn't, we're watching a seat get stolen from us out of the Orange County district area with what's her face,
Michelle Steele.
yeah,
That's
you
okay.
know, they,
That wasn't a big loss. Yes, the seat as a whole is a loss, but the individual, she wasn't. She voted for Trump's impeachment. She voted
yeah, I
for.
know,
So
Yeah.
she was one of those candidates that I would consider the rhino from that part of the thing, because she
yeah,
didn't want the party to go the way it was going. So she deserved to lose. And so
I wish that we would let that happen more often. Can I just say
I
something?
agree,
I
I
gotta get
agree.
on my soapbox about this.
Go
I've
for
got
it,
so
man.
many
Go for it.
people that tell me like, oh well, we don't want to lose people like Susan Collins from Maine, or frickin' what's her name from Alaska? Is it
Oh, Lisa
Murkowski?
Murkowski, I'd love to see those two go.
Murkowski from Alaska. It's like, no, you know what? They like, well, they sometimes vote with the party, and that's why we want to keep those seats. No, we want to get rid of them.
yeah,
Because you know why? Because people, if you're trying to win people over, if you're trying to win people to join your party, or at least join, not even just join Republicans, just join the conservative side, or heck, at this point, just become a moderate. Being a
Right,
moderate means you're on our side.
right.
Um, you can't have these people that just freaking stab you in the back over and over. It
I
makes the
agree.
party look horrible.
yeah,
Yeah, I
And if
agree.
I'd rather put a Democrat in for a cycle or two, let them fuck it all up, and then let the district turn freaking solid red for the next 2 decades.
yeah.
Yeah,
I'm,
yeah.
I'm
I
with
don't
you
see why
there.
not.
You gotta play the long. It's like you said, playing the long game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Don't worry about, oh my God,
Well, yeah,
this year.
we got to play. Listen, we got the rules that we have, right? When it comes to elections in every state, as long as we play by the fucking rules, and we could win. We showed that this election, right? That if we just play by the rules, we win, right? The rules were given. Yeah, would love to have
Mhm.
elections done on election night. Would love everything counted on election night. Would love voter ID and all that stuff. But until we can get that shit, we got to play with the rules that we have, right? These are the cards that we're given. We got to play with them. Yeah, I have no problem with Lisa Murkowski. She votes fucking more for the Democrats anyway, than she votes on our side and
We,
everything like that.
we don't even
The
have
thing
any
is,
advantage with these people in
yeah,
office.
yeah. But the thing is, even if you got rid of a person like Lisa Murkowski, it wouldn't make a difference anyway, because we'd probably still elect a Republican up in Alaska in her state, right? So
Maybe a better
we had
one.
someone good. Yeah, we had a better one.
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay. If you remember, she lost her. She got primaried out. Okay, she convinced the rhinos in the state of Alaska to fucking change the rules, change the election to ranked choice elections. She slipped back in as an independent, okay, and fucking ended up winning the Senate seat, because
yeah.
everything got broken up between her, okay, her wing, all right, the conservative that beat her in the primary, all right, and fucking there was and the Democrat. So she still ended up winning and getting the seat back again.
Yeah,
I don't even understand the way Alaska does it with the ranked choice. I don't even. Someone tried
Yeah.
explaining that to me, and I just don't get it.
Jonathan, explain the rank choice. Go ahead, Jonathan. Jonathan broke it down to me better than I was on track, but he like broke it down to me. He's like, "This is how it's done, bro." Uh,
God,
you know,
explain it to me like I'm 5, Jonathan.
Jonathan, explain to him like he's fucking in preschool.
so the future for California, as far as it being red or blue, I'm precautioned because of the wave that President Trump brought into the state, and I hope that it will be the continuation of more people actually opening their eyes and saying, you know what, it's time that we regain our state control back. Versus, it's for we the people, not for the politicians, the elite. And I
Oh,
think
hang on. Sorry, Jonathan. Uh, uh, Red Day wanted an explanation of how ranked choice, what do you call it, voting works in Alaska, and he said to explain it to him like he's 5. Go ahead,
Basically,
Eric.
like the guy in the video, the more you fuck around, the more you find out. Let's keep it
Yeah,
that simple.
I know.
so. Yeah, so you have to look at the state as a whole. It's possible that we can go back to becoming a red state. It's just that we have to fight and continue to fight to make it push. We can't continue to have the be on the back of Donald Trump or people like Donald Trump to be able to go. Don't get me wrong, that was a great push that we had. But who do we have next? And I hope that JD Vance will be able to push that because you know you
What
have
were
to,
you saying? What
With
did you
you,
say,
man.
Red Day?
you have to have the
That's what I was saying before the election.
yeah.
I've
Yeah,
been saying that for the last year. I was like,
yeah,
I did so many rambles about who's next,
Who's
who's
next?
yeah,
next,
Remember, it's a
because Trump,
marathon game.
has a way to. He's a performer. He's a marker. He's a master marketing person more than anything else. He knows how to brand,
Yeah,
and
yep,
at the very least, that's what at least draws people to pay attention to him, and that's
yeah,
what you need. No matter what
yeah.
he does, he could go take a crap in the bathroom, and they'll be reporting on it on the news.
yeah.
So true.
He'll say it was the best crap ever. Um,
Yeah,
but yeah, who's next? Because honestly, I like JD Vance, but I mean, is he inspiring?
we got
Depend.
to hear him talk more. I
You know,
guess,
I
right?
do,
we got
I
to hear
do.
him. We put on the hot seat. We have to see what he does. Yes, we know that
Yeah,
he's a Marine Corps veteran, but just because you're a Marine Corps veteran doesn't mean you get the vote. Because I've seen a lot of our fellow brothers and sisters that were so-called veterans that have been spouting their mouth off and saying, well, Donald Trump is this, Donald Trump is in that. Well, whether you're a Republican or not, you still got to be. You serve this country. You are a standard bearer of the flag. You should be wanting to serve this country, have our country be better than what it is, not with bad woke ideology policy.
yeah. There's plenty of that. There's plenty of that in the veteran community with DEI woke fucking,
Yeah,
but that's a product again. That's a product of the Obama administration of being in during the Obama administration and everything. Here. So wait a minute. We got an explanation for you.
Oh God,
So it says
great
rank
choice.
choice.
yeah,
Got it. So basically, in rank choice, you vote for the first candidate, second, and so on.
yeah,
Its first choice gets over 50%, he or she will win.
yeah. In California, we have the 50+1 rule. So if you get 51%, you won.
But I'm still not 100% on board with it, Jonathan. It seems like it makes sense, I guess, but
Yeah,
but here's a question for the Erics here. So if JD Vance is okay as say like the person who's going to grab the torch, I think
Hmm.
what's going to make or break 2028 is who he picks for VP.
I agree.
Who you got for VP? Let's all just score. Who you got? Who do you want right now if you had to pick?
Hang on. Wait a minute. Before we get into that, hang on. If no one
yep,
gets 50%, then it goes into a runoff, and the person with the lowest votes gets eliminated.
yep, yep.
Okay, that I
And wait a
understand.
minute. Wait a minute. Jonathan is he's still going. He says, and it's a stupid idea. I'm not for ranked choice at all.
And but
That I understand.
the thing about that though is people in California voted for that. So that's where the craziness is because people voted for that.
I
And rather
think in I think in Nebraska's district first or second district. I think Nebraska is a state that has ranked choice too. There's a few other states besides Alaska that have ranked choice now. It's insane. It's completely and totally dumb. So going to what your question was, I
Yeah.
honestly don't
So
know.
we,
I honestly
we
don't even know at this point, man.
really?
Um,
Do you
I
know
would
anybody,
think
Eric?
that I would think that maybe Vivek. If
No,
Vivek, but
it's
I
not-
don't know if
I'm
Vivek. I don't know
worried
if Vivek would want to even do that though. Will Vivek even want to be a vice? You know what I'm saying? I don't think he would. Byron Donalds.
now.
I wouldn't
That's
mind
my
seeing
pick.
Byron Donalds.
That's
That's
my
who
pick.
I've had conversations with him when every time he comes to California. He seems like a pretty solid guy, and his policy ideas seem pretty sound. And it seems that the other one is Wesley Clark from Texas.
I
You
Yeah,
know,
I'm
yeah.
partial to Byron because he's a Florida guy.
Yeah, no,
And
but Wesley and Byron hang together. They go on shows
they
together and
do.
whatnot and
yeah.
everything.
So
Yeah.
if you think that, but if you think about that
Here's
right there,
here's some more explanation for you. Ranked choice is just direct democracy with left-hard complications.
yeah.
That's a great way of putting it.
Thank
So
you,
the
Jonathan.
thing is if that old question is going to come up, why aren't Republicans having a woman go into that position?
Yeah.
It's okay.
All
I
right.
mean, if there was a great candidate, I'll
Agree.
for it. Who's
Yeah.
who do we got?
Yeah. Who are we gonna put? Really? What
But
The
woman?
only woman that I could think of, well, that just shouldn't have to be a minority woman, but I mean, I like that Winsome from Virginia.
oh yeah,
Um,
yeah.
Yeah.
she's pretty
She's.
cool.
I mean, she's good, but I just don't see that happening. I think it would be a straight male
I,
ticket.
How
I
about
like
Mark
Christy
Cameron?
Nome, but I know a lot of people don't like Christy Nome.
I,
Um,
the thing
I
for
like
me,
Christino.
the thing for me is I'd like to keep some of our strongholds, especially at the
So,
governorship.
this is for you, Eric. Essentially wants to know when you're running again.
That's something that I'll have to ask my family because as it doesn't just involve me, it involves the family.
Yeah.
And so that's the biggest thing, especially at the state level. Local is pretty local for me, but I can see myself running again in future elections. I thought about it running this cycle, but I was doing too many other political things, running political organizations that I said that I didn't have the time, and so it's not.
Wait, let everybody know what organizations you're running right now.
So I was running the Republican National Hispanic Assembly San Diego County chapter, and I
Okay.
left that seat a few months ago because I wanted to start concentrating on helping the Hispanic and learning understand what it is to be a Republican. Not only that, but how it mirrors our voice, our values, and so that's in accordance, with Robert's comment earlier about Californians are a lot. There's a lot of Californians that don't speak English.
Yeah.
That's our problem. When I say our problem, it's our community's problem that they don't understand what the message is.
That's not even just in California, man. That's across the country. New York has that
Yeah.
huge problem like that as well, man. A lot of
New Jersey,
bro, I know
Texas,
I know
Florida.
Hispanics Puerto Ricans, okay, who are fucking citizens by birth, whether on the island, okay, or in any of those states, all right. I know many of them that have been here 50, 60 years and still don't speak English.
Yep.
It's insane. It's like, how do you not speak English?
In the business that I do for my occupation, I run into this same conversation every day with my customers that I have, and I won't disclose where I work at, but just know that it's a Second Amendment friendly facility.
Right on.
And so
You sell ice cream, then that's great.
I
Yep.
sell whole burning tools.
There you go.
The
Sounded
conversation,
like a Starbucks.
there you
Yeah.
go. But I talk with customers that I have that actually are illegal immigrants that have done it the right way, that have come to our country through the immigration process,
Mhm.
and they are appalled at how California specifically has allowed all these number of illegal aliens to cross the border. Not to mention, it's a federal problem, but it's they tell me that they're pissed off because they had to pay $5, $6, $10,000 just to become an American citizen when people are getting it for free. So
Right.
the thing is I get it every day when I go to work. They are like, "What are we gonna do? What is your thought? What are my thoughts on it?" And I'm like, "Well, we have to stay strong. We have to fight. We have to continue to talk about it, so that way we can expose how bad it is for our community.
Wow. Yeah, man. It's you gotta tell them too, get off the fucking Telemundo, get off Univision. There's other outlets and stuff like that. Now, like you're seeing, I don't know if you've seen Gateway Pundit has Gateway Pundit Hispanic.
Yeah.
Okay, so like, there are other outlets that are doing it, okay, where you can find the information. At least you can get the other side, okay, and then if you still want to watch Telemundo and Univision, okay, you can at least get two opinions and then figure out what it is you want, right? Like there are more outlets out there. There have been plenty of outlets besides those two channels for a very long time. It's just, getting them to fucking get off of that. All right. So you're not listening to that one pendejo, what's his name?
Jorge Ramos.
There you go, Jorge Ramos. All right. I can't stand that motherfucker. All right.
The problem is that
but
the English speaking ones are no better.
it's true.
Yeah.
Most of
That
them.
is true.
That's
true.
And it's what we have to also look at is, let's break it down in simple things. But how are we breaking down? How do we reach out to our communities? Not only just our Latino Hispanic community, but to the community at large.
Yep. Everybody. Gotta reach out to everybody.
Reach out to everybody. Everybody keeps on mentioning it's the grassroots game. Well, that's where it really is at. It's the grassroots game. That's what won this election this year, was the grassroots movement.
Yeah.
Being able to go knock on doors, it's a big thing, especially if you're someone that is not really wanting to knock on doors. When you go knock on a door and tell somebody what you're running for, who you are, why they should vote for you, it's a different perspective, and it puts you on a different noticeable level when you're talking to the community, because it's you. You're running, it's your campaign. You're telling people why you should vote for them, why you should vote for you, and just telling them that, hey, your life is going to be better if you vote for me. But at the same time, let's not be fake about what's really happening in the community. Let's talk about it. So I always tell them, what is hurting you the most? I'd always ask them, what's hurting you the most? I can't pay bills. I can't, my kids are going to bad schools. And so that's why I ran on those platforms. No more taxes, pro-choice for school, pro-life, zero infringement on the Second Amendment. Because in California, oh, by the way, that's another topic we could have a 2-hour conversation on, is the Second Amendment.
Yeah.
Is that the constant infringement on our Second Amendment right in this state is appalling.
Yes.
And they constantly use bad and false statistical analysis on presenting that. And that, so if you're not part of that fight,
it's called lies.
Of course.
It's all and that's by design too. That's all part of that's all part of the Marxist movement in the state and in other places in the country too, like Illinois and New York and whatever, to take guns away from people so people can't fight back when the time comes and stuff. That's what it really comes down to. And it's egregious. It's very egregious what goes on in the state of California.
You have to just look at what is the intent. What is the intent of eliminating our Second Amendment right? Let's look at Venezuela. Let's look at Cuba. Let's look at countries like that. Look at Australia?
Hang on, there's a good question. I thought it was stupid, Robert. I thought it was dumb. Yeah, it was a stupid thing. It was one of the worst things he did, and it ended up getting fucking kicked, right? Like, so, like, unfortunately the fight had to happen, okay, all right, and the 3-letter mob. I'm not gonna say their name on here, so I don't get fucking in any more trouble with them, because I'm sure I'm on a list for them and some of the other 3-letter government gangster mobs. It took a fight, in order to get it reversed and whatnot, but it took a while. But it was dumb. It was a really stupid decision, man.
Right. And I think he learned, and that's the thing with President Trump. I think he learned his lessons from his first run in office, that now he's starting to realize this is what we need to make this administration better. But he's learning along the way. But look at all his appointments that he's looked at.
He's got some shaky appointments too, though.
With the exception of one, I think you know who I'm talking about, Scott.
About his appointments?
Yeah. Pam Bondi.
Oh, what about her?
Oh yeah, she's a red flagger. Yeah, she's a red flagger.
So but the thing is that we have to be careful.
We'll see what where her job is focused on, right? I mean, is that going to be the focus of her?
Yeah, this is Jonathan, man. Fucking Jonathan. He's like, oh, I know. I'm on a few lists. I'm proud of it.
But that's the thing. If you're
Yo,
not,
so just so you know, Eric, Jonathan is our mod, okay, and he's the guy behind the scenes that fucking is always helping us and everything like that. So he's funny too.
yeah, we got to have that. We have to
But you
have
know what,
that.
like what you were saying about Pam Bondi. I mean, yeah, but as the Attorney General, do you honestly think that she's going to put a focus on that under Trump? I don't think so.
I don't think
Just
so.
like I don't, just like I don't think Robert Kennedy Jr. is going to, be speaking up about, oil and gas and things like that. Because no, his focus is going to be on no, get the
On health
fucking
and everything.
food
Yeah.
healthier, right?
Yeah,
He's already said he's keeping people away from the things that they don't want.
yeah,
He's got this whole coalition of people that helped him run, and he's going to put, these people can be very useful. Pam Bondi she's a barracuda,
She is.
as
That
an
she is.
attorney general. She did good
That she
things
is.
for Florida.
That
So
she is. No, hands.
I'm not saying it's perfect. I'm just saying under Trump. Now Trump is not going to be an absent president like Biden, where he's just going to be over here like while all these secretaries are running around doing God knows what.
Yeah.
And you
He
ask them
definitely
on any
learned his
given
lesson.
day,
right.
what is this person doing? Oh, I don't know. Trump is going to have his finger on every single person that he appoints. Trust me, especially
Right.
somebody like that. You already know what he's going to have that attorney general focused on. He's
So
not going
wait
to
a
be
minute.
private
Robert
sector.
says Robert says she ruined your state.
I didn't say she ruined it. No, how did
But
she ruin our state?
that's the thing is that yes, we have
Because we don't have constitutional carry.
and I think that we have to be very vigilant as the average everyday citizen.
Yeah.
Now, I have to take myself out of that statement because I'm no longer an average everyday citizen because now I'm part of that game process of politicians because now I've been labeled. Oh, by the way, when I was running both times, guess what the big tagline was in the paper?
What
My
was it?
my opponent's name, Eric Gonzalez, the far right extremist.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Isn't
really?
that that's a wonderful label to have?
That's it. So you're gonna label me as a far right extremist? Oh, you just got your game on right now.
Bro, if you're left of center nowadays, if you're right of
Yeah.
center, actually, if you're center now,
Robert
you're
F. Kennedy
considered
is a far right extremist.
yeah. I was about to say RFK Jr. is considered a far right
Tulsi
extremist now.
Gabbard is a far right
Tulsi
extremist.
Gabbard is a far right
Yeah,
extremist.
yeah,
She was like Bernie Light when she was in Congress, right? Like everything that fucking Bernie wanted, she wanted to do the same thing. All right, but she's a far right extremist, so it's like
yeah. For her, I was really cautious with her, with Tulsi Gabbard, because but now as she's evolved and seen what the party is about, I think she understands the game more so now and where her alignments are at. Because I think that's why she shifted. She's a veteran too, but she's also still an officer in the service. But I think she understood where her values and her alignment were gone under the Democrat Party.
yeah, hang on, we'll get to that, but hang on. This is for you,
Yep.
Scott. Says I don't think we're on
Can't read.
says I don't think we're on the same page with the Second Amendment. He's talking about Pam Bondi. He says you got red flags now
Pam
because
Bondi.
of her. Yeah. He says 18 to 20 years of age for rifles.
In where? The state of Florida?
He says a lot of my
When?
veteran voters had their
She
Second
pushed.
Amendment destroyed with red flag laws.
Robert, where is Robert from?
He's in Cali.
He's in California. Oh, okay, interesting. I wonder what area he's from. He and I will have to talk later on. Maybe that'll be the California ticket.
Yeah, I'm gonna disagree with you, Robert. Only a handful of veterans are fucking like that. Okay, most of us are not. Most of us are 2A all the way. All right, like 99% of us. It's a
Well,
handful of idiots. There's a
may-
handful of idiots in the veteran community. We can't deny that, right? That they're just fucking shitheads. Okay, they go along with the DEI bullshit. They go along with all the communist shit because they're just idiots, right? They're fucking brainwashed to think like them. All right, but most of the veteran community, we don't want to be fucked with. We want to be left alone. We want our pew-pews. We don't want anybody to bother us. And most of us are on some sort of list anyway. Yeah,
yeah,
Rogue Nina says
Yeah.
I was gonna say that too, Eric. If you're center to right, we're far right, and we're all on at least one list.
To Robert's comment about Nathan Fletcher, what happened with Nathan Fletcher was one of the biggest downfalls of a Republican politician in California. His wife divorced his ass, and because his ex-wife comes from a wealthy family, they
Right.
didn't want him in that family anymore. So they kicked him to the curb, and so he said, "Well, okay, guess what? I'm going to become now. I'm going to become a Democrat." So
Yeah.
he married a far left Democrat who
Yeah.
had ruined San
He went
Diego.
from one extreme to the next.
Yep. And so his current wife, he can't get away from her because she has such a
Oh,
high.
okay. I can't. All right, Robert. All right, I got you, brother. Yeah.
No,
Fucking yeah, yeah. One Eye Willie is a fucking asshole. He's an idiot. I can't stand that.
Oh yeah,
how about Adam Kissinger, the
I'm
other?
with you on that. I don't like Dan Crenshaw either.
Yeah, Adam Kiss My Nuts could fucking go jump. He could really literally take a long walk on a short bridge, and I wouldn't give a fucking rat's ass what happened to him. The dude is probably getting pegged by his wife right now as we speak. Anyway.
I was surprised with Dan Crenshaw. That was a real big disappointment with all the
Yeah, it
big
was.
came out, and then all of a sudden he just flailed.
Yeah, he's an idiot.
It was the WEF. They bought him.
Yep.
Yeah, so I feel you, Robert. All right, now I get where you're coming from. Now you're right. Guys like fucking One Eye Willie and Adam Kiss Ass and all that. There are some of them that are just they forgot where they came from and everything like that. Because a lot of them are lining their pockets, right? Because Dan Crenshaw is like right up there with fucking Pelosi with the insider trading. He's like almost on the same path as her. Okay, as far as he's actually has made more money in recent years than she has. Okay.
He's actually on the list. He's on the list for the laundering from Ukraine. He's on
Yeah.
the top 10 list, believe it
Yep.
or not.
Nice. Yeah, I
Yep.
wouldn't mind seeing his fucking punk ass going too. I don't give a shit if he has an R in front of his name. Could give a rat's ass. He's a scumbag. He's a scumbag, right? If he's
And I
gaining
think
from that, I'd like to
just,
see him go too. I don't give a shit.
just like Scott said, I think we have to come to the cleaning house moment of our party.
We do. Absolutely, we do.
If we really
We
want to put the stake in the ground and say we the people, then we really have to put that stake deep, and we have to clean house.
But it all comes down to us again, and
Yeah.
I say this all the time. Every time we talk about local elections, it's us. If we don't do it and we don't primary, because we get caught up in liking someone because their face looks nice, or they drive a nice fucking car, or their wife is good looking, whatever, dumb shit. We like people for the dumbest shit. I'm not talking about us, Scott. I'm not talking about us, bro. I'm talking about people in general. I was like, I'm not talking about us on this panel, man. I'm talking about just like we vote these people in, right? And then we see that they're doing dumb shit. We don't do anything about it because they build a community center in our fucking community and slap their name on it. And now the kids could play basketball or fucking dodgeball or whatever it is. All right. And all of a sudden they're the best since sliced bread. All right. And we don't, and we don't pay attention to all the bullshit that they're doing that's out in the open now. Okay. Because they do this shit out in the open now. It's not even, they used to hide it. They don't even hide this shit anymore. Okay. And we don't get rid of them.
You're absolutely right.
And I think Robert, there's a valid point, right? Because I think Republicans have passed more gun control in recent years, but because the blue states are the blue states, right? You're gonna do that.
Yep.
They're gonna do that and stuff like that. But yeah, Republicans have soft ass fucking milk toast Republicans with the red flag laws and all that other bullshit. Robert, you're absolutely correct, man.
Yep. So we as the people have to really clean house if we really want to see dramatic change and shift. And see more of the red and blue, we have to really want to clean house. And until we come to that realization, not only locally, state, and nationally, we have to do it.
Yeah. Well, because we're always paying attention to just national.
Yeah.
I mean, people like us, we pay attention to local, right? You ran fucking on 2 different occasions for local and state. Okay, once for local, once for state. So like we keep up with this shit, all right? And we keep harping on this and keep trying to tell people, bro. Me and Scott have been how many episodes now, Scott? Have we been talking about local elections now?
At least 18.
Right? We have been nonstop about this. We're not gonna stop either, right? I know I'm not. I know he's not because we understand how important it is, okay, that we have to fix this shit. And the only way to fix this shit is we got to do it locally. You want your states to fucking push back against the federal government, put the right people in. All right. When you see people that aren't doing the right thing, kick them the fuck out. It's that simple.
And then to Robert's point, we still are an open carry state if the city or community is less than 220,000 people.
See, I didn't know that. I didn't even know that.
Most people don't know that, but it's in the constitution of the state. Is if the community is 220,000 people or less, you can actually do an open carry.
Didn't know that.
You know what? Technically, the state of Florida is open carry if you're on your way to or from a fishing.
Yep.
So
if you
guys,
go
now
to
they're
go,
walking
so
around Orlando. They're walking around Orlando with a fishing pole and they've got their gun strapped, and the cops stop them all the time. I see these on TikTok all the time.
Uh-huh.
They have to do an audit of the police right there on the spot, and
That's
then the
funny.
police have to let them go. All you got to do is have a fishing pole with you.
Agree, Robert. But we have to be able to be willing to put into the fight to retain that. But I think the tides are turning for our gun rights in California. Because right now, what people don't realize is that there's the judge in Orange County who actually vacated the roster. What people don't know.
Okay, Rogue, bro, this is for you, Scott.
What's up?
Rogue Nina, she said a whole bunch of fucking fishing poles.
You know
Go
what?
ahead, Eric.
Here's something Pam Bondi could focus on. And I'm not saying she's gonna, but you know what you should do? The fact that you have all these governors and these state officials basically ignoring the SCOTUS's Bruin decision.
Yep. Yes.
They
How about
basically
that?
ignoring
Right?
it. How about that? Go after them. Literally bring them to trial.
Yeah.
That's what they should be focusing on. And
Yeah. I think.
I'm
Yeah,
not
I don't
saying
think
she's
she's going to.
gonna.
Yeah,
I would
but
love to see
I
that.
agree. I would love to see that. I would love to see some. But in order for that to happen, Trump has to fucking this time around do what Clinton did. When Clinton came in, he fired every single fucking attorney general, okay, across the fucking country. Every single one of them, and put his own people in. That's what he's got to do. Get rid of all of these fuckers, man.
Yeah. Because it's a clean house moment in the party. So,
but it has to be us, man.
Even if it's not Matt Gaetz, even if Matt Gaetz isn't the attorney general, he could still be assigned as a prosecutor.
Oh yeah,
he can. Special prosecutor.
And he doesn't need to get that approved.
Yep. So I think we've talked.
Wait a minute.
But why don't we talk about the new border czar? What would think will he do?
Tom Homan?
Yeah.
He's already threatening mayors and shit like that. He's like, yeah, go ahead and fuck with me. See what's gonna happen. I don't think he's fucking around, and I think he's gonna be given the leeway.
Trump's not gonna smack his hand.
Yeah, he's not gonna smack his hand. He's gonna tell them if they're obstructing justice, just fucking hem them up.
Are you for carte blanche?
Oh, not everybody needs it, right? Like a lot of people are gonna listen. The shithead fucking rat teeth Kathy Hochul is on the phone with Trump right now talking about let's talk because they know what's coming, right?
Yeah.
You know, they know what's coming.
They don't have to necessarily like hold their hand, but just don't get in the way. Come on.
Just don't get in the way. Yeah. Just don't get in the way. And listen, they have the authority the ICE has the authority fucking, to go ahead and essentially deputize people. The laws are in place for sheriffs, okay, and local municipalities to be deputized, okay, as fucking border patrol agents.
Not in California.
No, I know California is one where fucking they just, but no, actually, they can in California. All right, if they say fuck, hear me out. Okay, I know California's taking every measure to fucking push back on the federal government. What I'm saying is that the federal law, if they just went and said fuck it and did it, right? But the local sheriffs and the local municipalities aren't going to get on board with that because they're all afraid of losing their fucking jobs and everything like that. But think about it. Think if a few sheriffs in California said, nope, the federal law says that I can do this. I'm going to fucking help out, okay, without worrying about losing their job and didn't give a shit. Think about how that would fucking affect the state of California.
Well, there's 58 sheriffs in California, and 56 of them have said they will comply.
They won't comply?
Yeah, but they replaced the one in LA, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
they have Illinois.
Yeah.
All right. So 50. So wait a minute. Out of the 58, you said 56 said they will comply.
They will comply
because they're elected officials.
Yeah.
The cities, all right. The cities with their commissioners, they're appointed by a mayor. Yeah. All right. So it's you got to have if you have the right sheriffs, okay, in any state, no matter where you're at, okay, if you have the right sheriffs because they're an elected position, all right, and they say, yeah, we'll do it. There's nothing that the fucking governor can do about it.
Yeah.
Dude, just as we were going live, I posted my last video on my page. I posted a statement from a sheriff in Maryland
Okay.
who basically is in the. I'm trying to think. I think it was Fredericksburg County.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, I'm not sure what count, but go ahead. So,
the mayor of Fredericksburg has been one of those Democrat mayors
but
that has
Fredericksburg,
basically made a
Virginia?
statement that said we're not going to
Was that
comply.
Pennsylvania? Yeah.
Maryland,
Maryland. All right, go ahead.
Maryland. The sheriff already just came out and he put the Democrat mayor on notice
Just look
and
at
said, "Oh
Johnny.
no,
Look
we
at
are
Johnny.
going to comply. And if you get in the way, you might get arrested."
Yeah,
Beautiful.
they're not. Look, Tom Homan is not fucking around. Okay,
Yep.
the mission that has been given to Tom Homan. Okay, he's gonna get turned loose. Tom Homan is a guy that's gonna follow the rule of law. All right, he knows the law. He knows the immigration laws in and out. Okay, he schools every time that they brought him in front of Congress. All these idiots, okay, on both the right and the left that try to come up with some dumb shit, he makes them look like fools. Okay, he runs through the law and he fucking explains to how it's done and how it gets done, how it's supposed to get done, right? And he just makes them all look like asshats. All right, so he has a mission. He knows what his mission is. It's very dear to him. Okay, the guy fucking every time he does an interview, he gets teary eyed. Okay, he gets emotional. All right, because it's like it's a real serious thing for him. You know,
If you want to have a
Robert.
good laugh,
Sheriff
if you want to have a good laugh, look at Holman versus AOC.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. He absolutely ate her fucking lunch.
I love watching that when he always eats her lunch and dinner and breakfast. You know,
He's like,
Look, Eric, this is for you, man. The Robert says, let's run for sheriffs, San Diego and San Bernardino County.
Sheriff Bianco is one of the better sheriffs out here. He's actually he is non-compliant with bad policy. We want him to run for governor already because he does have the non-compliance with state policy.
Mm-hmm.
And so he might be on the ticket for next time. So I think he would be good. They don't want me for sheriff because I would put so many concealed carry holders out there that wouldn't be not even funny. And I would just say push for open carry in the San Diego County area.
Robert says that the sheriff bowed his head to.
I wish we could get that shared because I'll blast that.
Yeah, Robert, what sheriff? What sheriff, Robert?
Which
so
sheriff?
Eric said he'll put on blast. Remember, he's got a podcast, so he could put shit on blast too. He says, I don't know who this person is. He says Daniel Mercury for governor 2026.
He's talking about Sheriff Bianco. He's the Riverside County sheriff.
Okay, he said he bowed his head to BLM.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to look for that.
How about all the FBI agents that did that? They all need to be.
Oh yeah, they all need to go. They all need to go.
All of them.
Bro, that was just a sad day. But I got news for you, man. There's a reckoning coming to the FBI with Kash Patel. All right, he's got a serious axe to grind.
I understand his agenda, but remember, you're dealing with the infrastructure that has been entrenched for over 100 years.
Oh yeah. It's not going to be easy. Yeah, it's not that easy. But he has an axe to grind.
Yeah.
And any appointees that he can do, because there are positions in the FBI that he can appoint, okay, that don't have to worry about going through any kind of selection or anything, committees in the fucking Senate. Anybody who could bring in that he can just that could rip shit up, he's gonna bring him in to rip shit up.
Yeah.
Bring in like Dan Bongino, he'd freaking tear house up there.
I think I know his name has been fucking thrown around for the Secret Service. That would probably be a good pick.
I don't think.
They need to go after. I know I don't like his pick for ATF. His ATF pick was terrible. That's a 3-letter mob that needs to go the fucking wayside. The ATF. His pick is not a good pick for that.
Right there, that would be an easy fix, especially
that's got to be one of the ones they get rid of.
Well, you know that could be done by legislation act, easily done. Now that we have control of both chambers as well as the presidency. Because all Congress has to do is say, here is the law to abolish the ATF, and it is effective because there's enough votes to make that happen. But will it happen? Probably not.
No,
but because of that,
because you'll have Lisa Murkowski and fucking Susan Collins and anybody else that's left that will go totally with the fucking Democrats on that.
Yep.
And fuck it all up.
That's why it doesn't matter how many R's they have in Congress.
Yep.
Yep.
and in the Senate in particular.
Yep.
You know,
So
we have some assholes in the House too that need to go too, right? Like, and some of them are in deep red districts, so they should have been ousted already a long time ago. It's just fucking, it's excruciating to
We're gonna
watch.
have our first. We're gonna have our first trial run right in January because they've already pushed up a bill, or they're submitted a bill to abolish the Department of Education. I think that's the first one they're gonna
Yeah,
try.
listen, Robert, you may absolutely be right, but I'm gonna sit back and wait and see, and I'm gonna criticize the fuck out of him if they do dumb shit.
yep.
Period. I don't care. I don't care. It doesn't matter that Trump picked him. Trump is one man. The movement is not going to fucking end with Trump. It's up to us to continue moving. The movement was here before him. The movement, it was just quiet. He just happened to make it a little bit louder. All right. And the movement's going to continue to go without him. And we have to continue to go without him because he's just like, he's just Trump. You know, we can't stop fucking grinding, and we can't stop, calling shit out when we see it and everything like that.
And we got to stop fighting each other.
Yeah. Yeah. We can't. Like, I don't black pill people, man, because it's just like that to me, that doesn't get us anywhere. And it just like, I'm going to continue to fight.
Because that's where
Yes, Jonathan, this would
out.
be fantastic.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree. Brandon Herrera would have been phenomenal.
That's a name that I've heard actually bounced around for that organization.
For the ATF?
Yeah.
Yeah, but he already picked some fucking shithead.
He said if you would have picked me out, it made 2 official orders and declarations on day 1 that within 90 days that we were to abolish the ATF. He came out and said that.
Yeah.
So so I think he would be a good chip for that.
No, I mean, I see where I understand where Robert's coming from, right? Because both of them are fucking. They're not really pro 2A people, Pam Bondi and I keep forgetting the dickhead's name for the ATF. So I understand where he's coming from, but like in the same token, unfortunately, we have to sit back and fucking watch and pay attention and scrutinize. And when they're doing stupid shit, call it out. Just like people are calling out, like when they don't like his picks, people are allowed to say, "Hey, this shit sucks." Okay, and so it's not that we don't see it, bro. Trust me, it's not that we don't see it. It's just at this point, what can we do? They have to get fucking run through the Senate, and they have to get approved, which I'm sure the Democrats would jump on board because both of them are not pro 2A as much as we'd like them to be.
Yeah. So we have to understand it's the game. Like I mentioned earlier, it's a game. We have
it's a shitty game.
We have to watch how the chess is being played, and make sure that the checkers are being put in the right place. I like Firearms Policy Coalition because I'm a member of them better, but I'm also a life member of NRA. They both have their pros and cons, but Firearms Policy Coalition has been getting a lot more wins lately because they are actually doing the work that needs to be happening, not only with local, but actually on national level. So GOA was good, but they're on the backdraft. They're secondary. They're secondary advocates, not like Firearms Policy Coalition. They've been actually making a lot of wins across the country. So that's one organization I like to see get better and stronger.
GOA?
No, Firearms Policy Coalition.
Yeah.
They're very.
I know they're doing their thing and stuff like that. I think the NRA has gotten complacent, and they're not. They were one. I feel like they were once a fucking great organization. I don't think they are anymore. I think Firearms Policy Coalition, going to what you were saying, is they're making wins and stuff like that, and they're winning and they're grinding, right, and they're fighting and stuff like that, So I wish the NRA would go back to what it used to be, fucking 30 years ago.
Yeah. Well, it's just like in the organization that Robert's talking about. Every organization has to have money to run and operate. So that's the unfortunate. Nothing's free in our country, unfortunately, unless you're illegal.
Yeah, especially
right. If you're an illegal, you'll get a fucking $10,000 debit card, and you get $15,000 in food stamps and whatnot. But heaven forbid, you fucking were fighting with 7 deployments for fucking 20 years, and your brain is shot and everything like that, and you're living on the streets. We'll put you out. I mean, in New York, I think in New York recently they just put out a fucking 90-year-old veteran from a home and stuff like that to give it to the space to immigrants. It's just it's insane.
I saw that. I was very disheartened by when I read that in that big old apartment building they have for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's just man, that is a whole other we can talk for 2 hours about veteran issues, man.
Yeah.
That's something that I want to actually do at some point and bring some other veterans on and stuff like that and just dig into it just so people can understand, what it is that we're actually going through, People only see it on the surface, and the people are disgusted by it, on the surface and whatnot.
Robert, I'm with you on that. The Second Amendment is a Second Amendment. Don't completely infringe on it. That's what I ran for when I ran in 2022, and that's part of the reason why I didn't get the big support that I should have gotten was because of my zero infringement policy on the
I'm
Second
with you on
Amendment.
that. I'm absolutely with you on that.
Zero
Listen,
infringement because it's an insurance right in the Constitution. So I shouldn't have to fill out a piece of paper that says I need to own a firearm. Because you know why? You know why they do? You know what all these fees in California go to? They go to a place called UC Davis, to the Firearms Gun Violence Center.
oh God.
And all
Just say well, the minute you said UC Davis, that was the end of it for me. I was like, oh man.
and so so you talk about all these taxes that I mentioned earlier. Guess where it's going to? To universities like that to fund gun violence centers to find out why people are killing people, and oh, by the way, to fund the alphabet soup ideology.
Yep. Yeah, but like you got like we talked about earlier, right? It's just they're always they're always putting out the wrong information, right? Intentionally, because it's done intentionally. They put out the wrong information. As we all know, if we took the big cities off the fucking list, we'd probably be 230th on fucking gun shootings in the world,
Oh, yeah.
And stuff like that. So it's just it's something else.
Yeah, it's disheartening to see what our nation and in our cities have become. But if you love this country, if you serve this country, I believe that you and are willing to fight for this country, whether you've been a military veteran or even somebody that just loves the country. Period.
Yeah. I was about to say you don't even have to be a veteran if you just love this country and what we stand for.
Yeah. If you want to fight for it, let's fight. Let's go through the dance together. Everybody watches each other's six as we're going through.
Yeah. Yep. Amen, man. And that's what we're all about. There's a free speech fucking channel. There are people who say things that I don't necessarily agree with and stuff like that, but it doesn't matter. They're fucking entitled to say whatever the hell they want.
That's what it's about.
You know what I'm saying?
That conversation.
What's that?
That's what it's about. We're supposed to have that conversation.
Yeah. We don't always agree on everything like that, but it's about free speech, and this channel is about loving this country, man, even with all her faults, and understanding that she is a flawed nation, and that the only way we fix it is we fix it together. The same way I always say, only together we can break the machine. I mean that shit. That's the only way the machine's gonna break is if we come together and start taking our rights back. We have given so much of our rights away, okay, with dumb legislation because we keep electing the same stupid idiots and putting them back, okay, when we know that they're shitheads. Their voting records are public for all of us to see. All you have to do is just look at the guy in your fucking district to find out what they're voting on, right? Okay, and what they voted on to understand how they vote, right? And if they're assholes, get rid of them. It's that simple, and because politicians in this country don't fear us, all right? They don't fear the citizenry anymore. They used to. There was a time in this country where they were worried that okay, oh shit, after 2 years I might get fucking tossed, all right, in the House or something like that, or after 6 years in the Senate. Well, locally, some races are 2 and some races are 4 as well. Okay, they used to fear that. They don't fear that because we keep going through the motions when we vote. Nobody fucking nowadays. Okay, before you had to go to the Board of Elections. Okay, when we didn't have the internet, you had to literally go to an office to go get the ballot. They didn't mail you a ballot. Okay, you had to literally go to an office to go get it if you wanted to understand who was on the ballot. All right, and then you'd have to go through newspapers and all that other shit. You don't have to do any of that right now. Everything is on fucking line for them. Even if it's just a tiny little sliver of something that you're looking for, you can find it. Now, do many of them go out of their way to try to hide as much information as they can? They do, but the internet is forever. You will always find some dumb shit that they said fucking, at one point, or some, it's usually something dumb that they said, right? In an interview or everything. They think it got scrubbed, but someone always has it. All right. You just gotta do your due diligence when it comes to these clowns and stuff like that,
Yeah, and that's where we have to, that phrase line in the sand. We really have to put ourselves entrenched into that trench, and really, if we want to fight for this country, we got to fight for this country, point blank.
Mhm.
You
Yeah,
know,
even against people with the same fucking letter in front of them
yeah,
that we ordinarily, you have
yeah,
to. It doesn't. You got to hold them.
yeah.
Actually, you got to hold them even more responsible, right? Because you're not trying to elect the other guy. Okay, it's the guy that you're trying to elect that you think is supposed to do right by you and everything, because you're giving them that power to fucking make decisions or on your behalf. Those are the people that you have to always keep their feet to the fire. And if we don't do that, man, we lose. We've been losing for a very long time. I think this election, a lot of people were just absolutely just fucking tired of bullshit from every spectrum. They were just tired of the bullshit. Okay, the legacy media is done. We
Yeah,
are the media now. Okay, it's the small guy who's constantly on here fucking shouting at the top of his lungs about the bullshit that's going on. All right, that's the media now. Legacy media is fucking done. All right, and it's up to us to continue to talk to the people in this nation to fight. Just get up and fucking do it. It sucks. It's a tough thing to do. You got so many better things that you think you can do, but it's really important just to fucking get up and vote for the right person. Do your
well,
due diligence and vote for the right person.
George Washington said, "If you love your country, you'll fight for it."
Yeah. It doesn't have to necessarily mean with pew pews and stuff like that. We hope that it never gets to that.
Yeah,
But
there's other mechanisms to be able to fight, for our country. Necessarily mean pew pew. You got the legislative process, you got the
yeah.
judicial process, there's all kinds of mechanisms in place.
And Rogue, I agree. You cannot play their games. It's not necessarily playing their games. It's playing with the rules that you have.
Stupid.
We have to use the rules against them,
Yeah,
right? Like we got these rules that are in place, and for a long time, our side has been resistant to playing with the rules that are in place. When we
right.
play with the rules that are in place, we beat them at their own fucking game, play
Yeah,
it better than them, and then we get into a position where we could fix the game and make it right
yeah,
for everyone. Because right now it's not right for everyone, and the only way to do that is if unfortunately we have to play with the rules that we have, play with the fucking cards that we end up being given and stuff like that, and using them to maximum effect. It's like one big giant fucking Pokemon game.
yeah. It's just it's funny to see how, when I say funny, I don't mean it in a funny way. I mean it in an odd, bad way. How when people come together, yes, we have different thought process and beliefs, but we need to come together to be able to do the work that needs to be done to be able to protect our country. And so that's where we need to come together. Damn, I sound like Kamala Harris right there.
Oh
Talk,
my God.
talk
Don't be
about
talking about fucking
talk about
unburdening what has been
and the burden.
burdened, and yeah.
Uh,
I get what you're saying though. Listen, we have, growing up, my parents, it wasn't about differences. My parents used to be like, stop. When you pay attention to people's differences, that's where all the bullshit happens, right? Because then you keep looking at them as they're different than me.
yeah.
Okay. But if you could just find common ground with people, all right, especially on important things, all right, you can make things happen.
Oh
Not
yeah.
everybody's going to agree on everything. Okay, we're not supposed to. We're human beings. All right, we have free will. We're not going to agree on absolutely everything. We might have some likeness. Shit, we might be 99% of the way with each other, but there's that 1% we just disagree with one another. We might be fucking 75% of the way. But if you could find the common ground when it comes to, like you were saying, fighting for this nation, you have to use that common ground. And that happened this election. Like you were saying early in the podcast, you said, we didn't even talk about the people that switched over from being Democrats to Republicans.
Right.
Scott and I have talked about that. It's like shit. Like we don't even know that number. How many of actual fucking people who were like looking at Democrats being like, yeah, they don't represent me anymore. I'm just gonna go over this way. Yeah, I agree, bro. Robert, you're absolutely correct, man. Founding fathers would be rolling around their graves to see how much power we've given the government, man. And we've done that as a citizenry.
However, as the citizenry, what does the Declaration of Independence tell us? When a government becomes tyrannical, it is the
Yes.
authority and duty and obligation of the people to change that.
Yep.
And so,
100%, man.
and the reason why I say that is because it's education. When we teach our kids the right education about this country, that's when we'll change. When we'll have a dramatic shift.
Yeah. Yeah. It's true, man. They don't even teach this shit anymore, man. Like I think our generation was the last generation with civics and whatnot and
Yeah,
everything. We talked about this. I think the last episode we talked about this too, about it's just or two
Gen X.
episodes ago. Yeah, so we were like the last generation to actually have civics. Like they were still teaching civics in elementary school
yeah,
through junior high and into high school. You still had every level you had some form of civics. You know,
yeah.
they don't even do that anymore. And yes, Rogue Nina, it is our duty. You're absolutely correct. It is our duty. We have to. We can't just sit back and nobody's going to give it to us. Nobody's going to fix it for us. We're the only ones that can actually do it. And we got to get up off our asses and do it. It sucks, man. A lot of people don't want to get involved, right? You know, we how many times have you heard I'm not into politics? Well, guess what? Politics is into you because politics is absolutely everywhere.
Yeah.
All right? It's not necessarily on a government thing. Just everything is fucking unfortunately political in this world.
But you brought up a good point. When people say I'm not into politics, but oh yes, you are. Every time that you go buy your groceries, you're playing the political game. Every
Yep.
time you go pump your gas, you're playing the political game. Anytime you pay your mortgage, you're playing the political game. So you are in essence as an ordinary citizen are in politics every single day. You just don't know. You don't think about it that way.
Yep. You think that it's just an ordinary thing to do.
Correct. Correct.
Crazy stuff, man. Well, I know you said you had to get going, man, right? You had
Well,
something to do with your kid?
but we're already 15 minutes away from the mark, so we might just
Oh
continue.
yeah, yeah, we might as well finish it, right? We'll stick it out, right?
Hey, we got the
All right,
dialogue.
bro. See, the problem is conservatives are just progressives going the speed limit. Yeah, that's a fucking yeah. There are many conservatives like that, Jonathan. You know, they call themselves conservatives just like Republicans. Plenty of them call them Republicans in name. We have rhinos and I guess we have kinos too. There we go. We got a new word, kinos,
I know
conservative in name only.
those are your neocons.
Yeah, the neocons are just something else, man. They're worse to me. They're worse than the rhinos, right? Because like you know, they do so much damage. It's a terrible fucking thing, man. It's a
So what else do
terrible
you want
thing.
to talk about right now?
That makes you a rhinocologist because you're going to help clean them up.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I really hope we get to see you run again, man, and I'll be fucking leading the charge with you. You know, like we told Ashley last week, Monday rather, that hey, if she runs again, just let us know. We'll blast her all over the airwaves, you know, to let people know who you are and whatnot, because it's important, man. It's important that we get people like you who are not only involved but educated and understand, okay, how difficult things are.
It is, and I appreciate that because it's name recognition is a big thing in a big state. In a smaller state, I probably would have had a better chance, but
Probably.
in a big state like California, if nobody knows you, just look in my election in 2022, I got 60% of the vote
No shit. How did you lose?
because the other guy got over 120% of the vote.
Okay, but how does that even fucking compute? How does that
Exactly.
compute?
So it's a 2+1 demographic in the district that I ran for. So
Okay, I
for
got you. I
every
see.
so for every Republican that there's two Democrats,
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
and so I was able to have a couple of Democrats come over to my side, a few, and that's what would push me over to 50% for that race. So that was nice to see, and I was able to push enough to where I was actually had a lot of conversations with the state level to make changes for how Republicans should run in the state. Hence the ground game.
Right. I mean, if you let's say you don't run for office, is there any way you can fucking get a party, what do you call it, leadership position somewhere where you're at, where you can make changes?
That's another thing I've often pondered as well. Is that I've gotten into the game. Is I'm like, do I want to stay into run for office or do I want to be in the background? And I think my feeling is my personality is I'm in the front. I've
Right.
always been from the front, and so in order for me to make my impact, I think it had to be from the front and be run for elected office.
Right.
I don't know how to be a follower.
I got you. No, I understand that. I'm just talking about like making changes, because that's another thing too. Like the party needs like good leadership to fucking make good solid changes. Because it's just on the state levels, even with everything that Lara and Michael did, okay, they still had pushback from fucking local
Yeah.
uh chapters and stuff like that and everything, and they had to put the smackdown on these local places and stuff like that in order to get them to fucking get their shit together. It was like you're either gonna jump on board with us and fucking roll with us, or we're just gonna leave you behind, and then you're gonna be shit out of luck because later on we're not gonna give you shit.
Yeah, and that's where my position is right now. Is I need to be the one with the face of the campaign, and
Right.
because I want to be the one to make the impact. Now it'll be we that make the impact, but I'll be the one in the front, the face of the process.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I'll probably run again for the same position for the at the assembly district level.
It's every 2 years.
Every 2 years. But I'm running against a guy that's part of the alphabet soup, and so that's
Ugh.
pretty big in a certain part of my district.
Yeah, man. The alphabet mob is fucking serious, bro. The alphabet is a serious in California.
Yeah. So that's where I lost a lot was that part of that community.
In the end, that's not your. You gotta
Yeah.
understand. You gotta understand they're not. You know how they are.
Yeah.
By the way, and they're not even all like that. Because
No,
listen, you shoot for everybody, but you know who your actual demographic is.
Yeah.
And who you got to get out to vote, because that in the end that seems to be the issue everywhere. People just don't come out and vote.
Yeah. And that's absolutely correct, Eric. But I feel that now that everybody has seen that what can happen when people get out and vote compared to like 2020, if you remember, gun owners, Christians, they didn't come out and vote in 2020.
No, they didn't. No, they didn't.
But they came out and vote this time. But was it
Yeah.
a full
Well,
sweep?
yeah, but they came out with pulling teeth. Okay, like I was blasting it on IG. I know Scott was definitely blasting it on IG about, we got fucking Christians and got gun owners and evangelists that are just thinking that, everything is well. The evangelists were like, we're just going to leave it in God's hands.
Yeah.
God is telling you to get up off your ass and go do something. You're not paying attention to him.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Hey, look, if the Amish came out heavy this election,
Yes, I know.
The Amish, they never get involved in elections at all.
Bro, it's because they got tired of them fucking with their raw milk.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, if Laura Trump had any sense, I mean, she should already be planning for. First of all, she already should be planning for 2028 and
2026, man.
even the midterms. But
Yeah.
as far as just like the effect that Scott Pressler had in Pennsylvania, that what's his name, Charlie Kirk had in Arizona. They were very.
Charlie Kirk actually had a even big. I feel like he even had a bigger effect, because it wasn't just Arizona, bro. He got a lot of college kids all around the nation to come out and fucking vote, man.
Yeah, but I think yeah. I've seen the last month. I think he spent a lot of time in
In
Arizona.
Arizona, you're right. In the last month, he did.
But they need to find people that are dedicated stumpers.
Yeah.
And for a place like California, a place like New Jersey, New York, you find people that can actually communicate with the community. Whether it's English speakers or Spanish speakers. But people that are really, because even Scott Presler, he didn't live in Pennsylvania. He fucking moved there.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I know he
And
wasn't from Pennsylvania.
you need to
He
find,
what do you
but
call that?
that's how dedicated he was. He took over that whole state, and he's talking next year. He's already talking about now he wants to go to New Jersey and do the same thing. Imagine
Yeah, I
if they
know.
flip Jersey. Holy
Yeah, I
shit!
know, that's big. That would be big.
Actually,
Jersey. I think it was. I think it came within 5% or some shit like that in New Jersey, bro.
Single digits. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like 5%. I think she
They
only
could
won it
send
by
someone.
5%.
They could send somebody to Illinois. That was single digits. They could send someone to Maine. That was single digits.
Yeah.
I mean, they could just completely just demolish the
Yeah,
Democrats, to be
they need to. I
all of
agree. They need to get on the. Need to get on the Scott Pressler plan, and uh, and just send people to move them into those states and just go to work.
Yep.
Yeah, it's regardless, man. We say it all the time. The work isn't done.
them.
We have to this grind. It's a constant grind, and if we want to get things fixed, we have to continue to grind, and we can't let up. This can't be a one-off. This election cannot. We have a chance of doing something like I said earlier. Okay, that has probably never been done, or if it has been done, it's been a very 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 long time. Okay, is what do you call it, is keeping the majority in a midterm election. We have a shot at it, but obviously we need to have some success in the next 2 years of policy and whatnot. Things need to obviously change and people need to feel it. Okay, because if they don't feel it, it's not going to make a difference. They're going to be like, we came out for you and it doesn't fucking, we're not feeling it and stuff like that. And yeah, I know. Listen, I know he's going to come in and immediately there's going to be shit that he's going to rip up with executive orders, especially when it comes to energy. And this whole inflation thing it's obviously is a bunch of different things that make it inflationary. But
So
the
funny.
price of goods, okay, almost overnight went fucking through the roof just with energy alone when they signed like 100 freaking executive orders stopping energy production essentially in this country. It wasn't just the Keystone Pipeline. That was one portion of it. He just absolutely devastated our energy production in this nation.
Well, the moment
Watch
that he closed the Keystone Pipeline, that was the beginning.
Yeah.
day one.
Yep.
Watch, what they'll be doing is they'll have it like a COVID ticker. They're gonna all the last 4 years they've been saying that inflation wasn't a big deal. They're gonna have literally have a daily freaking ticker. Here's
You
what
know
it
that.
is today. They're
Yeah,
gonna show it
that shit,
every
right?
day. It doesn't go and a day doesn't go down or it ticks up a little bit. They'll be like, "What's Trump doing about it?
Yeah,
What's he
they're gonna
doing?"
be monitoring inflation big time, right? They didn't monitor it the whole fucking time.
Huge.
Okay. They kept saying how inflation was down, lying that fucking Biden inherited 9% when it was at 1.4% when he got it, and it's just they're gonna just be lying about the whole shit, unless
Mhm.
unless unless fucking MSNBC is bought by by the owner of X, and he puts
Be
Alex Jones
hilarious.
in prime time.
Hey, that's another conversation.
I'm not here to talk about inflation. I'm here to talk about this.
I'm sorry to
Us.
hear that, Robert, about your pop passing that way, man. I'm really sorry to hear that.
Oh man.
I was working in hospitals at the time, and the shit that was the medical tyranny that was going on, it turned me away from medicine.
Mhm. When I was up in New Hampshire, remember I told you my godmother passed away?
Yeah.
It was the jab that did it to her.
Yep.
She said that she got it. She said within a week of getting the jab, she said her body started breaking down like she never had before. She's like she never recovered.
And
And a
that's
year
another.
later now she's
John
gone.
Jonathan is commenting. He said, "Magically, Democrats will remember the definition of a recession." It's true. Well,
All of a
I'm sorry
sudden,
about your
yeah,
pops, man.
Yep.
Robert,
yeah.
I'm really sorry about that. I know working, like I said, working in EMS and in the hospitals, I saw a lot of it. Uh, wasn't good. Um, you know,
Yep.
yeah. Well, looks like we're gonna be calling it now.
Yeah.
I won't be just for everybody who's still on. Please make sure you like, subscribe and freaking hit the notification bell for the bell for notifications and whatnot. We won't be having an episode. We won't be having a podcast this Friday because I'll be out of town to a whole weekend, but we will have one on Monday. Um, and then we'll be picking back up on Monday starting next year. Okay, I'll be dropping videos again daily before the shows, and I'm gonna be going to a Wednesday show starting next year. I'm hoping around the beginning of January. I have to still figure that out. I'm not sure. I'm leaning on it that I'm gonna get in there on Wednesday nights. That one to be more concentrated on the bullshit going on in the fucking entertainment industries, and Monday and Friday will continue with the Washington and state swamps and ripping into the commie fucks that are running this country into the dirt that we have to kick out of office and whatnot. So, with that said, Eric, let everybody know where they can find you. And, again, thanks for coming on and spending time with us today. We appreciate it. It was a pretty enlightening conversation, very informative. Again, the chat is always fantastic as usual. They're always on top of things.
Yeah. Thank you. And again, thanks, Eric, for inviting me on. I'm sure this isn't the end of our collaboration.
Nope, not at all.
It's refreshing for me to see that there are other people that are willing to put their head in the grindstone to continue to push this process. And thanks again for having me on. Appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, we'll definitely have you back on. And like I told you, I'm more than willing to come on your show, man, and continue the dialogue and stuff like that. Scott will be willing to. I'll give you Scott's information on IG. You can contact him on IG and whatnot. And he'll what do you call it? He'll get back to you. He's good about that. So we'll be more than happy to come on your show, man, and just fucking rip it up there too.
Sounds good.
All right, man.
Have a good night.
Have a good night, brother.
Yep. Take care.
All right, man. Well, America, another great night tonight. That was Eric Gonzalez of the American Veteran Made Right podcast. His link is in the description, so you can find out where you can listen to his podcast. He's going to probably be getting a little bit more active because he had been running and he'd also been helping with campaigning. This last election cycle, he didn't. He told me, he notified me he didn't drop as many podcasts, but he said he's going to rip that up again. And yes, Robert, I agree. We have to definitely fight for the Second Amendment. We can never lose that. That has to be a constant fight, no matter what. And I'm not all about those 15-minute cities and shit. Fuck that. With that said, America, I am the Big Red One guy signing out. God bless you all. God bless America. I will see you all back on December 9th. I should be back. Scott and I will be back on the 9th. All right. So I hope your Thanksgiving was fantastic. If you missed the last episode, please, tune into it. And again, you can tune into this one. Have a good night, America. See you all next week.